Today's video is brought to you by Manscaped.com, the global men's lifestyle brand that has all the tools for all the dads this year. Hi, ugly. It's me, Bussy Nicole Smith, and welcome back to Hot or Rat. And today we'll be reviewing episode 4 of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars Season 8. Our queens were challenged to write and star in original scripted TV trailers, with one goal: make RuPaul laugh. And the runway category was As the World Turns. And Alexis Michelle pushed Darienne Lake in front of a bus while everyone watched and laughed. So we're breaking down each queen's performance in the episode as I saw it, as well as covering some more cryptic drama from Heidi and Closet both on the show and on Twitter this week. Maybe she's quitting, maybe she's not, maybe another queen is quitting, maybe she's not. Who knows? And now, grouped in the order their skits aired, first up we've got Darienne Lake from Get Off Island. Get it? Because they want to get off the island. And this group sketch, we learn, is loosely based on Lost, the TV series where a bunch of people crash a plane and then are stranded on an island where I think like time doesn't exist or something. I'm not sure, I never saw it. I was a bit too young for when that show came out. With the twist being that the island is actually home to a bunch of dead celebrities, like Marilyn Monroe, who don't want their secret to get out. And like, generally speaking, the concept for this is actually kind of funny. I think it was just a lot to try to accomplish for what ultimately was supposed to just be a trailer for a series. And in writing all of this, the girls definitely should have known that they were doing too much when they started to give each queen multiple roles within the skit, when they really weren't even comfortable with their first. And there are some funny moments, especially from Darienne, when she makes like the joke about Obama still being president. And she, I think, is actually an excellent actress in this sketch. But all of that is lost in the very muddled plot of there's 3 drag queens on a boat that crashes on an island where they start to find diamonds, and then ghosts of dead celebrities start appearing, who I suppose are evil and want them dead. But what seems to kill the queens in the end is actually that they're like falling off of a cliff. This sketch needed like another 3 scenes and probably 4 more actresses to actually make it work. However, while Darienne's ambition for her group was its downfall, I actually think individually considered just on acting ability, she was probably my second or third favorite of the cast tonight. So I would give her overall a safe hot. And over on the runway, this was a really proud moment, I think, for me, the judges, and everyone watching. This was absolutely an example of a queen having an all-stars glow up right before our very eyes. Like, somehow she looks younger than when she was on her original season here. This look is very Barbarella meets I Dream of Jeannie. And there's just something about that red and copper that's really making a lot of things pop here. I would just say it doesn't particularly emphasize her backside in any special way. It just kind of is a really hot look. But sometimes body yaddy yaddy is all you need. Next up, Jaymes Mansfield, who in the challenge is one of the 3 ditzy blondes on the ship who gets shipwrecked, and also plays the role of the ghost of Marilyn Monroe. And in her first role, she was fine, but it was basically just Jaymes Mansfield playing Jaymes Mansfield, and I don't think she had enough peaks and valleys to warrant calling this performance great. And then I think the Marilyn Monroe was a little flat. I didn't understand the voice that she was doing, and I think of the 3 in this group, I got the least amount of enjoyment from her 2 characters. And in general, she just kind of gave me an uninspired energy tonight. And that's surprising, I think, coming from Jaymes, especially because she is such a lively character. But I do wonder what the edit didn't show us this episode, because from the 3 queens in this group, the storytelling was really all about Alexis versus Darienne, and Jaymes was missing in action, but this performance was a And on the runway, Jaymes says she is honoring her Mexican and indigenous culture with this feathery, jeweled, and beaded headdress. And the headdress, I think, is the most interesting part of this look. I really like how the side parts come down as both headdress decoration and also look like giant earrings. And I really like that, as she points out in her confessional, she's doing something very different for Jaymes Mansfield. She's finally left the 60s, and I think she definitely deserves some credit for taking a chance here. But I do think this outfit maybe needed a few edits. It feels a little clunky in the neck and head area because the headdress has so much going on. I don't think she needed additional things in here because it's just a lot for our eyes to try to focus on. And then moving down the outfit, the visual clutter just kind of continues. We've got a strange triangle cut on her stomach area and then a belt that just looks a little bit out of place. However, I will say when she turns around, everything really starts to change. The silhouette and lines of the outfit are much cleaner from the back. You can still see the decorative beading and interesting parts of the headdress without too much going on at once. And my God, for that ass being padded, she deserves all the credit in the world. So I'm gonna give this look overall a warming up. But you know what's extra hot? Dads. daddies, and father figures. And whether you are one, know one, or have one, this is your reminder that Father's Day is right around the corner. And for this year's Father's Day gift, I recommend you get them some tools they'll actually use. Like Manscaped's new beard hedger, a cordless, rechargeable, and waterproof beard trimmer with a 7,200 RPM motor and 20 different haircutting lengths to choose from with the zoom wheel that uses only one guard. Or perhaps a classic that's been a part of my personal shower grooming routine for over a year now, the Lawnmower 4.0, which is perfect for trimming up body hair from top to bottom, which by the way is also cordless, rechargeable, and waterproof, making cleanup a breeze. And complete your Father's Day gift with the Performance Package 4.0, which includes not only the lawnmower, but also the Weed Whacker, perfect for nose and ear hair trimming, plus the Crop Preserver Anti-Chafing Ball Deodorant, and the Crop Reviver Ball Toner Spray, which when you think about it, also doubles as a gift for mom, or your other dad. But that's not all. When you order the Performance Package 4.0 right now, you'll also get 2 free gifts: the Shut Travel Bag and Manscaped's Boxer Briefs. And Manscaped's partnered with me to get you 20% off your order plus free international shipping when you use my link in the description of this video and check out with code Bussy at manscaped.com. Thanks Manscaped for sponsoring today's video. And next up, I have one question. Who is Alexis Michelle? She is allegedly a producer, but doesn't do a whole lot of producing for this challenge, which kind of surprised me. When they're discussing ideas for this sketch, it sort of seems she just goes with whatever Darienne says, and we hear in a confessional that she doesn't love the ideas, but also doesn't step up to take charge and influence what's going on. And for someone who says they had nothing to do with how the challenge came out, her performance in the sketch was okay. I thought overall she was very middle of the pack of the entire cast tonight, and I think she was better in the parts of the sketch where she was narrating what was happening rather than the acting roles she had, both as one of the ditzy blonde queens that was shipwrecked and then the actress. But for as okay as she was, I didn't laugh, and I am gonna give her a rod, especially for what she did to Darienne during the critiquing session. She literally looks the judges in the eyes and is like, I have to apologize because I didn't come up with the concept for this. Darienne did. And I didn't speak up, which is why I'm upset with myself right now. Which is really crazy to watch because she's effectively throwing Darienne under the bus in front of the entire judging panel and every queen in the cast, while also playing the victim and transparently revealing that she will backstab anyone that gets in her way. Like, why, after that stunt, would anyone trust her in a group or alliance or anything like that, which could be so crucial to her performance in the season? And I get it. She was probably both trying to make good TV and also saying whatever she thought she had to say to stay in the competition, but to play the victim like this in a group challenge and take no credit for anything that happened is really just wild to me. But over on the runway, she's in another pretty, if simple, gorgeous gown. Queen of pretty simple, gorgeous, elegant gowns. This time she's walking down the aisle and she's completely covered in flowers. She's giving modest, doe-eyed bride at her springtime wedding, who maybe isn't so sure what's going on with the back of her dress, because when she turns around, bam! The wedding cake was served early. And I think this look is worthy of a safe hot. I just wonder if maybe she could have done something a little more fashion forward or bigger and bolder for all stars. And next up from the purple group, we've got Kandy Muse. And she in the workroom is seen having some disagreements, we'll say, with Jimbo. Basically every idea Jimbo throws out, Kandy Muse says no to. And they seem to be having this long and drawn out argument back and forth about if a pit crew member is gonna get the role of in their sketch, which, I don't know, was a very believable interaction between these two, I suppose, but a lot of the workroom conversations in general are giving there's nothing to say, let's just make something up and get some camera time. We'll just say that. Anywho, Kandy in their sketch gets the role of Tiffany, the popular girl who gets all the boys. And the basic storyline is she's best friends with Jessica Wilde's character, and Jimbo, the new girl at the school, tries to befriend them, but they do not want her around. And in her role, Kandy does good, but doesn't really elevate her performance beyond who Kandy Muse is already as an entertainer. Like, this is the same Kandy Muse that we've seen in previous acting challenges, comedy challenges, etc., etc. And she is an entertaining person, don't get me wrong, but I think in the future, it would be good to see her add some new layers to her acting performances. So I give what she did here a very safe hot. And over on the runway, she's all blown up for your pleasure. And of course, my first thought seeing this look was, wow, this reminds me a lot of Aj's anime runway from her talent show performance in All Stars 3. And while this giant pigtail anime girl concept certainly isn't unique to either of these queens, I do think that Kandy mixing the anime girl idea with plastic blow-up doll was a fresh and unique take. Plus, I really like that soft purple with the subtle leopard print that's going around on the outfit portion of this look, and it is overall very visually interesting and great for television. My only critiques are the backside of the outfit was a little questionable. The placement of the backside balloons was interesting, and it made me wonder if the backside of this plastic outfit was riding up a little bit too much, because there's a very awkward section of skin-colored fabric between where the backside balloons are and like where the boots on the look are. Like, something definitely is not adding up there, and had she, I think, just done the purple color there completely all the way down the leg, this would have looked a little cleaner, but this look is definitely still very hot for me. And next up, Jessica Wild. I love that queen, who in the challenge plays essentially the Karen Smith to Kandy's Regina George, which is very fitting for Jessica Wild. I mean, she basically played the exact same character, just a little bit older in the sketch with Jimbo a couple weeks ago. And so in that, I don't think she was challenged in this episode, but I think she still did well. There's just a natural comedy to anything and everything Jessica says, and everything she doesn't. Her body language and facial expressions are always giving. And apparently Jessica was trying to go so over the top with this character that Michelle had to cut off certain portions of what she was doing, like miming a certain activity with one of the pit crew members and using a water bottle in the tub as she gets ready for her date that night. Something I've definitely never done. Jessica Wild in this performance played a great supporting role to the Jimbo show. She gets a hot. And over on the runway, she is giving a really beautiful, simple, elegant, rouged, metallic dress with a tearaway that reveals, you guessed it, a whole lot of ass, plus a little leftover lipstick or sequined heart on one cheek. And I'll say this material in particular, I think is difficult to make look so good. And I like that even though the look isn't some big crazy concept, she still gave us a show with that reveal. This look is hot. And finally in this group, we've got Jimbo, the star of the whole evening. Her character in this sketch is called Muffy. She's the new girl in the high school, and she desperately wants to be friends with Kandy and Jessica's characters. And this basic storyline setup is very familiar to audience. It's, as Ru points out, kind of Mean Girls meets Carrie. And of the three sketches, I would say Jimbo's actually had the most logical plot progression, and they did a good job of giving us just enough information in each scene to keep us wondering what was going to be happening next. We got the girls meeting, Muffy showing up to the party that she wasn't invited to, Muffy getting bullied in an attempt to fit in with the popular girls, and then a climax at the end where she goes absolutely bat insane and has a psychotic episode. The two popular girls. You know, a tale as old as time. And all I can really say after watching this is, wow, Jimbo is so impressive in their ability to storytell, act, and give these insane performances that not only make her look good, but also emphasize the other people in her group. That said, because she has so much prowess in this particular arena of performance, I think it's also very easy for her to make herself the one that stands out above and beyond. Like, she knows that Kandy and Jessica will be predictable in their roles, as their characters should be, but counting on the predictability also gives her endless creative freedom to take her own character in completely crazy directions. Like, think about it. The other two queens in her group were literally on the floor at the end of this skit, and Jimbo is the last one standing, going into her full psychotic break with smearing lipstick all over her face and screaming. It turned into the Jimbo show, and it worked. This performance was hot. And over on the runway, she's got big chest plates, and I cannot lie. And for some reason, the chest plates are on the front and the back side. This look is not my favorite of the look catalog that we've seen from Jimbo so far in All Stars 8. I think that's mostly because of how amazingly creative some of her previous looks have been. This one is basically just an emphasis on the chest plates, but somehow has less of an impact than like her entrance look, for example. And I don't really understand what she was doing with that green and blue melty looking fabric that she's wrapped herself in. Like, this feels more like something she had in her closet that she brought for a lip sync rather than a runway intended to meet a particular brief. So I give it like a soft rot. And finally, our last group starring in Run Queen Run. First up, we have Kahanna Montrese, who plays the role of Honeysuckle, who's the crown jewel of the Back Swamp nightclub. And as we know, Kahanna is a self-professed not great actor. However, in this sketch, I think she had a little bit of a breakthrough. She definitely felt more comfortable in this than we've seen her in previous comedy or acting challenges. And her group smartly, I think, let her play into the I'm a very pretty queen and that's my shtick bit. Because like, with as crazy and kooky as Heidi and LaLa were, who we'll get to here in just a second, Kahanna didn't necessarily need to be cracking jokes or have some crazy appearance. And so I give her performance in this sketch a safe hot. And over on the runway, Nurse! Imagine you go in for a checkup and the nurse comes in with a syringe this big to take your blood. Girl, I would run. Kahanna's look is sexy, flirty, fun. She's a hot nurse. What more could you want? And I did like the layer of this nurse or doctor also being involved in the plastic surgery arena with this giant syringe probably filled with silicone. Like, this very much fit her story about all of the work that she's had done prior to All Stars. It was camp. And while hot, sexy nurse maybe is a little cliche, I think this look is hot. And next up, let's talk about Heidi and LaLa specifically in the challenge. They play Snatcherella and Puncherella. They very much tap into that duo trope of Dumb and Dumber, like Pinky and the Brain, Jesse and Jaymes from Team Rocket Pokemon. You get the point. It's a familiar character setup that we know and love. And they did it beautifully. Or I should actually say horrendously. Heidi plays the slightly dumber character of the two when she quite literally can't even focus on what they're doing long enough to take her hand out of her mouth, while LaLa is meanwhile orchestrating a plot to steal the tucking panty from Kahanna's character. And this character duo in this sketch is very funny for the first like 2/3, and it does start to burn out a little at the end there when I think overall the group didn't know where to take the rest of the plot. But I had some laughs and overall enjoyed what they did. I would give them both hots. And now I suppose we'll do Heidi's Runway. Okay. So she basically is Eeyore, and I think this take on the As the World Turned briefs was super fun and original, and that is worth complimenting tonight because there was a lot of pretty outfits with cutouts in the back. And I just kind of wanted a little more creativity or interesting concept from some of the queens. Like to come out as an ass for the ass runway, so smart, so brilliant, and I really just love and adore Heidi more and more every episode for things like this and for coming up with these crazy characters and being so funny in sketches and really honestly doing so great in this season overall so far. This look is absolutely hot. And we'll circle back to her drama here in a second, but concerning LaLa Ri's runway, I don't think this is giving what was supposed to be gave. I am very confused here, and I think she was too. It's kind of like, I guess, maybe supposed to be Risky Business meets Mary Kay Saleswoman meets Rodeo Cowgirl? But in that, it's kind of a lot of things and nothing at all. The fit on the blazer is, I think, a little off, too short, and the pants or chaps, whatever these are, they don't work because the fabric on the back is not quite LaLa's skin tone. And we very obviously see that because she's got her assets hanging out in the back, which look great, but it just kind of makes it look like a strange color choice on the pants rather than a nude illusion. It just looks unfinished and overall I think too simple for All Stars, so I'm gonna give this look a rat. And now the moment we've all been waiting for, the drama. So first, let's talk Twitter. This past week, Heidi had tweeted out, 3 episodes in and I'm the second person wanting to quit, which of course was paired along with everything she had said in Untucked last week about wanting to go home because she didn't like how the judging decisions were going. Who the second person was, though, we didn't totally figure out until Kasha Davis at Roscoe's spilled that it was Jaymes Mansfield, apparently having a little moment where she wanted to go home after episode 1.
What you saw was not what would happen. She cried, she couldn't do the choreography, she wanted to go home, she was ready to quit.
Which all things considered is pretty crazy that she apparently had been so frustrated with everything in episode 1 that she wanted to go home, but we only saw that she got a very safe, quirky edit. And we can also put some other puzzle pieces together and figure out that this is probably what Naysha was talking about when she said she thought Jaymes should have been in the bottom and was getting producer favoritism because, they didn't air her I wanna quit moment.
Every single one of my confessionals, they're like, so how do you think that person did? It don't matter, Jaymes was the worst one. I tell you why I did that. Because you're not gonna change the narrative on me. I saw what I saw. My personal opinion, allegedly, I don't think they showed me because my opinions of certain people did not align with the narrative that this mother was trying to do.
And concerning all of this, Jaymes did respond on Twitter, sarcastically, writing, I think enough time has passed for me to address this. I was so embarrassed on behalf of my team. They were so off with this choreography. I was the only one doing the proper steps. It's okay, I forgive you. Which Kandy replied to, writing, me watching you from the back, just knowing you were gonna be in the bottom. And Jaymes wrote, and you were wrong. Kiss. So that's that drama, but we also have some other more cryptic tweets from Heidi this week. In different tweets, she has written things like, don't ask a question you might not want an answer to, and if I could just open my mouth and let all the tea out, and when you feel like you're being undervalued at work, what do you do? ask for a raise. And hopefully the answer to that question she asked on Twitter isn't quit and leave Drag Race, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I guess we'll see. And the other curious and cryptic thing that happened with Heidi this week on the episode was she in the workroom is telling everyone that she has tea that will burn the competition down, where she's referencing something about Kandy Muse and maybe other queens. Who knows? Anyways, in the bottom this week, we actually get all 3 queens from the first group, Alexis, Jaymes, and Darienne. And while I think individually Darienne didn't necessarily deserve a bottom placement for her performance in the skit, it did come off in the edit at least that she was responsible for how convoluted everything became in the final product. Because girl, we know Alexis hasn't taken any credit for that. Or Jaymes for that matter. They just kind of watched Darienne burn. I was gagged. But the second we see Darienne in the bottom this week, we kind of know how it's gonna go. She's already been in the bottom twice, and last week, as we found out, the lipstick voting was really close. There were 4 lipsticks for Darienne and 5 for Kasha Davis, which does mean Kasha was going home no matter what, but it also showed that there was plenty of sentiment and I think willingness to send Darienne home based on track record. And I will also say these lipstick counts were interesting in the sense that this cast is not voting unanimously, like let's say they did on All Stars 5 or pretty much how they did on All Stars 6. These queens seem to be much more influenced on like personal rapport and how bad they think someone wants to stay in the competition, and most of them being early outs, how much they think they deserve to show what more they might have. And our winner, surprise, surprise, is Jimbo. I think this was absolutely 100% the right decision here. And I did react to this episode, the runways and challenge, on my Patreon at patreon.com/BussyQueen. That's my members only website where my patron family gets exclusive member benefits like early access to my YouTube videos and access to exclusive videos like these reactions. And you can join my Patreon by clicking the link in the description of this video. It would really mean a lot to me and greatly help out the channel, and I hope to see you there. And as the winner of this week's challenge, Jimbo gets to lip sync against Shannel, who she reminds us is the very first queen to walk into the workroom ever. She is quite literally an icon. And like, please, Drag Race producers, for the love of God, put her on a future All-Star season. We need it. We deserve it. But concerning the lip sync, it happened. It was a lip sync. It was 2 queens on stage lip syncing. For their lives, maybe not. For entertainment, maybe. Shannel gave us a very tight performance and even had a reveal in her costume. There were some ups, there were some downs, and she did a good job. Jimbo, I think, better matched the energy of the Joan Jett song, but there wasn't a lot more to her lip sync than the prancing around the stage thing that she seems to default to, and a little bit of air guitar. So Shannel wins, and Jimbo loses her 5th lip sync across 3 franchises of Drag Race. And that's a win, actually. I think that is a win. 5 losses across 3 franchises equals 1 win, because no one else is ever gonna have that title. And you know, I have said things in the past about Jimbo's lip syncs maybe being a ruse to basically avoid sending somebody home. And I do think that is still in the realm of possibility, but so many lip syncs in a row now, I don't know. I'm kind of having a conspiracy theory about my conspiracy theory. Maybe she's just not good at lip syncing. What is she gonna do in a lip sync for the crown if there is one and she makes it to Final 4? She ain't getting that crown, I'll tell you that. But yeah, Shannel reveals Darienne's lipstick, and it's not right, but like, I suppose it's okay. Kind of sucks to lose Darienne right before Snatch Game next week. Like, she would have done so well. I just know it. So that hurt, but here we are. And before we do Hottest Hots this week, I want to remind y'all to check out today's video sponsor, Manscaped. Just click the link in the description of my video to start shopping for the perfect Father's Day gift. And save 20% on your order, plus get free international shipping when you use code Bussy at checkout. Now for Hottest Hots on the runway. This wasn't my favorite runway, I'll be honest. And usually I'll pick a queen who I think has very much satisfied the brief and done something super original and creative. I don't think anyone did that this week, but I do think Darienne presented a flawless look on the runway, the only flawless look on the runway. And so I'm gonna give my Hottest Hots to Darienne Lake. And in the challenge, I will of course give it to Jimbo. And I also asked my patrons to vote on their Hottest Hots this week. And for the runway, they've chosen Heidi in Closet, and in the challenge, Heidi in Closet. And finally, I'm gonna give an extra special shout out to Ashley Brungard, Dorothy Hall, Felicia, Frankie, Jeffrey Steenberg, Laura, Lisette, Louis Labrador, Matthew Burns, Matto, Panda Kitty, Sailor, Steven, Topher, Tyler Hendricks, MD, Bailey, and Will and Tana, who are all supporting me at the Bussy Queen Collector tier at patreon.com. See you later. Love ya.